Ladies and gentlemen, a bit of a different video today, but I get often asked how I manage to have such good audio even though I'm not a huge content creator and I don't really have a dedicated audio setup. Well, today I'm going to show you how. And in the process, I will also be reviewing this microphone right here, the Fifine AM8, which I have been sent for free by Fifine for a review. And since I've had it for a few weeks now in my setup, I can confidently give out my thoughts, as well as a few tips if you're planning to use this microphone. Let's unbox this little package and I'll tell you guys more about what we're going to be testing today. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're unboxing the Fifine AM8, which, full disclosure, I have been sent for free to showcase for you guys. A big thank you to Fifine for collaborating with me for this video. As you can see, this thing is massive. It's way bigger than my previous microphone was. I'm going to be setting this thing up and telling you guys more as I go through this. If you want more technical details, this microphone only has a cardioid polar pattern, which is ideal for gaming and streaming or anything like that. So it has a frequency response of 50 to 16 kilohertz, so no harsh frequencies will be going into the microphone. And it has a noise floor of about minus 50 decibels, which means basically that your microphone will not be picking up useless background sound. It's going to take a lot for the microphone capsule to pick up that sort of background noise. So you should be fine, even if you don't have a treated room. Full disclosure, what you're hearing right now is the Fifine AM8 ran through the same software that I used to run my old microphone under, which is SteelSeries GG, which means the microphone currently has things like EQ, compression, noise reduction, amongst a couple of other details running through it right now. This is not what you'll be hearing throughout the rest of this video. You're going to hear the microphone's natural sound, so you guys can decide if it is adapted to you or not. All right, I've just set the microphone up. I have it turned on. I put it in the mic monitoring. This is the first time I ever use a mic monitoring feature on a microphone, and it's literally instant. That's why normally I would be bothered like listening to myself at the same time. Right now, there's absolutely no worries. As you guys can hear, there's a very clear sound. There's not a lot of noise, even though I have a very noisy laptop. Obviously, all gaming laptops are noisy, but you guys can barely hear it within this microphone. It's fully RGB as well. I didn't even install like any third-party software or anything. It's just RGB on its own. And if I do want to mute the microphone, all I have to do is just and you guys stopped hearing me. It's absolutely wonderful, bro. I love this microphone so far. If you guys want to purchase the Fifine AM8, there will be a link at the very top of the description directly to the Fifine website where you can buy the AM8. Once again, thank you to Fifine for collaborating with me on this video. So as you guys have seen, the microphone is fairly easy to install. If you're looking for a way to angle the microphone, personally I have it angled like this, kind of like you would in a podcast situation, but except it's slightly more to the side. It's just what feels more comfortable to me. But you can also angle it up and above looking at you down. So something a little bit like this. Personally, I don't have it this way because, again, it's not really comfortable for me. I prefer the way that I had set it up initially, but that's another possibility. You can angle this thing however you want really and find a way that suits you better. If you do plan on getting this microphone, I highly recommend you get a microphone arm as well, because although the desk stand on this thing is sufficiently tall for the microphone to pick up your voice fairly easily, the microphone does tend, even on a mic arm, to pick up a lot of the resonant frequencies, so things like bumping, snapping, clapping, and all of that stuff. It has a tendency to capture that fairly easily. And since, for example, I have a pretty shaky desk, it's not really the most sturdy thing in the world, it does tend to pop pretty often, and the microphone has an easy time picking that up. When it comes to background noise, I live in a very noisy area, especially my house, which is very big and has a lot of my family members hanging around all day. That does tend to be a lot of noise throughout the day, and honestly this microphone does a great job at blocking all of that out. But because it is barely sensitive, it does mean that you do have to stay on top, or at least in front as much as possible to the microphone, otherwise your voice will lose clarity very quickly. Just so you guys have an idea of why I'm saying that, right here I'm really close to the microphone, enough to trigger the proximity effect on the microphone, and it still does a pretty decent job, although you need to not be too loud, otherwise it quickly gets boomy. Right here I'm at my normal range, for example the range I've been talking the entire video, and I feel like that's where the microphone excels the most. But if you start getting away, you quickly lose some clarity and quality to this thing. So right here I'm about 20-25 centimeters away from the microphone. It's already starting to worsen in quality, and if I just keep going away, I mean, it doesn't do a bad job at compensating, but you really need to stay close to this thing. That's where it excels the most, because if you start getting too far away from this thing, that's where you're going to start having some trouble. And it doesn't take a lot. I could just start leaning a bit, which I do a lot during my gaming sessions and during my live stream sessions, for my voice to immediately lose clarity. So you'll need to stay in front of the capsule as much as possible because this thing is not as versatile. If I had to give this note out of 10 to this microphone, I would give it between 7.5 and 8 out of 10. It is a very, very good microphone, especially for the price. It is highly flexible. And although it does have some trouble blocking out resonant frequencies, it still remains a budget microphone, and it honestly does a pretty good job considering that. But here's the little tricky part. How do we go from this audio, which is already decent enough, to something absolutely studio ready? Well, the key lies in a simple software. So what I use to EQ and compress my audio in real time is a software called SteelSeries Sonar, which is part of a bundle software called SteelSeries GG. Now, it is not the most practical, I do have to admit, as it installs a bunch of proxy audio devices on your PC. But honestly, if you're willing to work around that, you have an easy access to live EQ, noise reduction, compressor, and noise gate all in one software. It takes about 10 minutes to fully set up, and once you have that going in your software, there's basically only a few things you'll need to change to your liking, mostly the EQ. This is how I have my EQ set up, as well as the noise cancellation and compressor and noise gate settings. I've been using the software for years now at this point, including with my previous microphone, the HyperX Solocast, and I have nothing bad to say about the software. I highly recommend it if you guys haven't tried it already. If you guys know of an equivalent software that's maybe a bit less intrusive when it comes to audio devices, I'm all ears, but personally, this is the one I use, and I rarely have any bad things to say about it. I overheard a third year say, when a first year survives threshing unbonded, the quadrant lets them repeat the year and try again if they want. Rhiannon adds, and I can't help but wonder how much determination it would take to survive your first year and then be willing to repeat it just for the chance you might one day become a rider. You could just as easily die the second time around. A bird whistles to the left, and I look over the crowd, my heart leaping because I immediately recognize the tone. Dane. The call sounds again, and I narrow it down to somewhere near the door to the rotunda. He's standing at the top of the wide staircase, and the second our eyes lock, he motions toward the door with a subtle nod. The rotunda might be the most beautiful piece of architecture not only in the Citadel but in all of Basquiat. The room is 3 stories tall, from its polished marble floors to the domed glass ceiling that filters in the soft morning light. To the left are 2 massive arched doors to the academic wing, echoed by the same on the right, leading to the dorms, and up half a dozen steps, there are 4 doorways in front of me that open into the gathering hall. So yeah, that is basically how you can get studio level audio with a little software and a budget microphone. If you guys have any questions or comments regarding this microphone or the software, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I will be willing to respond to you. And that will be basically it for this little video right here. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.